Kevin, we don't have a second to lose.
No,
we
we
have
don't.
so much to talk about. Comic-Con happened last weekend.
It did, yes.
And a lot of trailers come with Comic-Con. We do an episode every year called...
Comic Conquerors.
Comic Conquerors.
Yes. An important thing to note is this is the first Comic-Con post the massive Marvel phase.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
The Infinity Saga is done, and I think there was some part of us that had assumed we're not going to get any more of these, like, massive Marvel movies, and there isn't, like, 6 things on the horizon anymore.
Exactly.
Are we going to have as many trailers to talk about this year? How did that work out, James?
It didn't.
No.
It didn't work out at all. But not only did we get, like, tons of Comic-Con trailers, like usual, we also got a lot of trailers being released around the same time as Comic-Con, but that had no presence at Comic-Con. They were just like, we're going to get on this Comic-Con trailer week.
It felt
exclusive.
Like there was a competing convention called Movie Market directly across the street that was also pumping out trailers.
They're just pumping it out, man. It's nonstop. Nuts. So, this is a little bit unprecedented for us. We normally just focus on the Comic-Con trailers. But there was a lot of great trailers that came out, or weird trailers that came out, that maybe didn't have a Comic-Con presence, and we want to talk about all of them. So we want to just jump right into it. You know, Kevin, I thought we can't really call this just a Comic Conquerors episode anymore, because just this one specifically.
Yeah, because we're technically not.
We're talking about more than that.
Correct.
So I came up with a few options. I have the winner right here: the Assassination of Trailer Hitch Comic Conquerors by the coward non-Comic Con trailers released during Comic Con week. The Kevin James story. Parentheses, not that Kevin James. In parentheses.
That would have been hard to top.
You can't haul your stuff without a trailer hitch. Trailer hitch.
Turn the lights, grab a seat, pour yourselves some whiskey neat. It's time to judge the shit out of these future releases by the movie trailers. We're trailer hits. This movie might totally suck, but the whiskey sure is going down fine. Yeah, we're trailer hits.
Nary a passing moment for an intro joke. However, we do have to tell you what we are, who we are, all that.
Oh, you're right.
Okay.
We shouldn't skip that either.
So we're going to try and speed read this. Hi, welcome to Trailer Hitch. I'm Kevin.
Welcome to Trailer Hitch. I'm James.
This is a trailer podcast in which we review movie trailers. We rate them on a scale of need to see more, never need to see. If James and I both like a trailer, we go, we see the movie, celebrate, report back to you guys in a segment called Trailer and the Reviewer, in which we review the trailer and the film. Now, we are talking about trailers.
That was great. I tried to bob my head to give you a sort of metronome. So
like
that you could,
rhythm
a
for
rhythm,
myself?
Yeah.
I did flip it a little bit. I think it was celebrate, then see the movie. I flipped those two. We're trying to go fast.
Did you
why
really?
Why am I correcting myself? We don't have the time.
We don't have the time,
This
Kevin.
is I can't even remember the name of the title of this episode.
The Assassination of the Comic Conquerors is what we can call it for short.
by the coward other movie trailers. Okay, cool. Yes,
Even the shortened version is too long.
Still pretty long, yes. So we're going to get into it, folks.
Yes.
We have a lot of trailers to talk about, and we're not going to give you the order. We're just going to surprise you as stuff comes.
It'll be fun for everyone.
You don't know what we're talking about.
Absolutely
We may
not.
have missed something. Are we going to talk about cats? You'll have to listen and find out. We're not talking about cats right now. You know what we are talking about?
What are we talking about?
Is the Kingsman.
Real power is not found running off to war. Real power lies in understanding who it is you're truly fighting. And how they can be defeated.
Yes, tonight, starting with a K, we are starting with The Kingsman.
The Kingsman.
So this is a prequel to the Kingsman franchise.
Series. Yep, with Taron Egerton and Colin Firth.
Yeah, and to what I spied, it just has Ralph Fiennes.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really the only big name that I saw.
Yeah, it's I mean, obviously there is the guy that is his protege, who is, I think it's very much like Ralph Fiennes is the Colin Firth to this kid's Taron Egerton.
Yeah.
But we don't know the actor of this other kid. I mean, at least I don't. So
what do you think about this trailer?
Sure. I liked the visual treat that this trailer was.
It's cut very well.
Oh, the rhythm, the energy of it, the action was fun.
And the action then right at the end culminating with the cane hitting the sidewalk.
Right outside their cover.
All of this bloodshed leads to this moment of complete poise.
Yes.
I thought was pretty cool.
It was good. It was a well-crafted trailer. Knowing the franchise, being a massive fan of the first one, and having seen the second one,
that's good.
I like the humor that's in these movies. This one is void of that.
Correct.
Entirely. I'm not prepared to say that's a negative. But it kind of makes me feel like, oh, this movie is just straight up gonna be action, and like cool action, suave action, like your James Bond movies.
I wouldn't even say suave action. This is the kind of movie where someone blocks an explosion with a shield and then flies through a fucking wall.
Yeah, that was very Zack Snyder at that moment.
Yes,
I thought it was a good reintroduction into this world, especially it being a prequel. I wish there was some humor in it, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is telling me there's no humor in this movie, or if they just left that out of this trailer. Don't know.
But I would agree, man. I'm definitely missing the humor and the inherency of don't you want to know how the Kingsman was formed isn't a question I necessarily felt I needed answered having watched the two movies.
No, and it's not even a thing where it's like a thing of ambiguity.
Not really.
It's just like something I bought.
Yeah.
Like I saw that first movie, they're like, we're the Kingsmen. We're named after Knights of the Round Table. We're Secret Service. I'm like, got it.
Dude, completely agree. Yeah, I didn't need that particular part expanded because that's not really where the charm of those movies was the minutia of how this all came together. And I think right now a big thing that I'm missing is who the first king... I'm assuming that's the Colin Firth character. Like, what gets...
Ray Fiennes?
Not Ray Fiennes, the kid who he's bringing into the set.
I don't know if the timeline for that lines up. Maybe it does. I thought this is going, like, way back.
I felt like it was the...
It could be. Again, it's not clear.
Jumping.
It's not clear, though.
Not really.
So there's another knock against it, I think.
I mean, you see Franz Ferdinand getting assassinated, but there's also...
Rasputin in there, too?
Maybe.
Someone that looked like Rasputin in there?
Yeah.
It was very interesting.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, but that said, this is also a teaser. And so I'm not necessarily expecting it to get too into the weeds.
No. It hovers at a need to see more for me.
Absolutely.
As most teasers do.
Same for me. It is a need to see more. Maybe with like a little bit more of the humor if it is in it. Or at least just a little bit more of a foundation for like some of the characters around the Kingsman. Because that was ultimately what made the Kingsman interesting. Yeah. I think that would definitely help a lot. But for a teaser, all right, the appetite is whetted.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes, I'm very coiffed. All right, well, let's get out of here. Let's hustle a little bit, shall we?
Pick up the pace, you're saying?
Yes, we're going to pick up the pace by talking about hustlers.
Front hook, ankle hook, knee hook. From here, you can do the carousel, just switch, and wrap.
So this movie is definitely from the point of view of these strippers, and it's kind of like Robin Hood, where it's like we're going to steal from the rich to give to ourselves because we're the poor, and that's what we have going on in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. I think it is a well-made trailer. Mm-hmm. It sets you up with just some characters, just a few characters at first to kind of dip your toes into the world. It has Jennifer Lopez teaching a newcomer the 101 of pole dancing,
yes,
if you will.
And I really liked that crosscut, by the way.
Yes.
Where it's like, okay, now you just want to try this move. Bam! It's on stage right now. Back to the training session.
Really creative intercutting there.
Yeah.
It doesn't just throw you into the world, and I thought that was important.
We get taught just as much as that character does.
And then just like that little bit of moment of the fact that these women are completely getting screwed over in how much they get paid. That gives us a little bit of a catalyst into why they're about to go down the road of crime. Crime Yeah, it's probably crime, right?
Probably. It does feel like there is some thievery going on. There is a specific character that's like, what are they going to do? Call the cops and say they spent $5,000 at a strip club. So
exactly.
There does seem to be some actual crime happening.
Yeah.
I really did not need I'm just trying to make money from my grandma so that way she can be safe.
Yeah,
like,
it's fine. It's I guess it's fine that that's in the movie, but I didn't need it in the trailer.
Yeah, like you can just have these characters be like, fuck these dudes, we're gonna take them for all they're worth.
Exactly.
And I'm on your side
Yeah.
as it is. And I think it's kind of a bummer that they felt like they had to have but they need a good reason to do it. It's like, no, you don't. Like,
yeah, those guys
any of the characters in Wolf of Wall Street, did any of them have altruistic reasons?
No, they all deserve to be locked up.
Exactly, yeah. And there are a couple of gags in it, but
were there? It didn't really.
It's a very dark one, but
I do remember one of them.
It's the help my husband.
That one, yep, that's what I'm thinking of.
Like the second eyes are off her, just whoop, she's closed the door, get back in the SUV, and off you go.
Which is a fun visual gag, but at the same time, like if I was one of those EMTs, I would have been like, that woman just stopped crying. I don't buy a second of what she just said. But maybe they're just like EMTs, and they're like, I don't get paid enough for that shit, so it doesn't matter to me.
I'm busy.
Yeah. That's the
people process grief in different ways.
That's the sequel, is the EMTs like ripping off the system.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. it's just a never-ending
vicious circle, man.
Yeah, exactly. I like it. But...
So yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I think the longer the trailer went, the more I went, I get it.
Yeah.
It didn't really bring anything new to the table as it went on. I liked how it started showing it going badly for them, and you get a little bit of a sense of what the stakes are for them. Because for a while it was just look at us, bad bitches doing us, and we are doing great and living life and loving it. I liked to see some of the consequences from these actions, which are still illegal. Like, we may be rooting for you, but we need to see why this has stakes.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. So that's how I felt about it. I feel like it was okay. But better than I think I would have normally given. If someone described this to me, I probably would have been like, yeah, never need to see. But I think the trailer was edited in a way that I am confident giving it a need to see more.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, especially kind of having that split protagonist because it really is Jennifer Lopez kind of running stuff, and then we also have this point of view character who's trying to take care of her grandma.
Yeah.
And it's this weird thing where it kind of feels like it's ensemble, but we didn't really flesh out Jennifer Lopez all that much.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about it until now. It's like, is Jennifer Lopez the main character, or is it going to be the newcomer?
Right.
Like, who, again, I don't really know her name in the trailer.
Magic Mike-ish in that regard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Very Magic Mike sense from it, too. Yeah.
So, I'm also at a need to see more from this.
Right.
I'm definitely interested to see more.
It's interested in me more than I thought it would.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're going to turn the page, and next we're going to be talking about It Chapter 2.
Something happens to you when you leave this town. The farther away, the hazier it all gets. But me, I never left. I remember all of it.
You'll float again too? You'll float two again? Look, we don't have the time to talk about the grammar and the semantics of this. This is It Chapter 2. So this is as all the kids have grown up and they've come to realize that their fears manifested in a clown that murders people.
Yep.
Still around.
It's back, baby.
Yeah. They gotta do something about it. 'Cause that clown, coming for him again.
It's coming for him. And the first movie ended with them making a vow: if this ever comes back, we will reassemble, and, just like the Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. You can clearly tell Bill Hader sitting there thinking, I was fucking 9 when I made that vow. Why do I have to be beholden to that?
I am a very different person than when I was at 9 years old. For the better, I would say.
All right, so for me, I would say that because this is the final trailer. There has been another trailer that's been playing.
They marketed it that way.
Yeah.
The final trailer. And I think it's only trailer 2. Hats off to them for going out of their way to be like, 2 trailers. That's all you get.
Now, what I will say is I do like the first trailer for It Chapter 2 more than this one.
I think I also like that first trailer more. Having said that, I think this is a good trailer for being like, this is a franchise that's out there, that there's about to be a second movie. We can give you a little bit about what that first one was about here. Basically, this trailer starts with one of the characters who stayed in Derry. The rest of them left. The rest of them bailed. And he's explaining in voiceover, if you leave this town, like he's figured it out, if you leave this town, you start to forget the horrors of stuff that happened here. Yeah. But I never left. So I constantly remember. And he's the one who's seeing these horrific things resurfacing, gets his club back together. And then they do these fun, like, crossfades between the children version
and then
versus
adult.
their adult self.
Yeah.
And again, for someone who hasn't seen that first movie, that's a good visual cue of what's happening. And then you go, well, what is this movie really about, though? And then it's like, oh, scary clowns. Got it. I guess I didn't need more than that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good trailer.
I do, too.
As someone who loves the first movie, though, that first trailer had me way more excited. I'm still excited. I don't want to take excitement away from it.
Bear in mind, I want to say this is still a need to see for
me. 100%.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So double need to see.
Double need to see.
But yeah, I will.
But that first one was great, right?
Though I do prefer that first trailer, yeah, I still think that it still hits the creepy imagery. I think hearkening back to the kid's brother is a really good choice to just kind of...
He's a good screaming kid, too.
Well, one, he's a great screaming kid. Yeah, two, like, to go back to the incident that incited everything, I think is really smart. And yeah, I do. I think that there's a lot of great stuff in this. Yeah. So, yes, need to see.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like was the clown's tongue on the glass. It was just... It wasn't scary. It just was goofy.
Because it did. Like, there was a part of me that was looking at that scene and was like, did Pennywise also fuck up and run into a mirror? Like, did Pennywise think, I got this kid. Oh, wait, no, recover.
Him and James McAvoy are racing towards the kids, and they both hit the glass at the same time. And Pennywise is like, I'm going to make a joke out of this. Play it off like I meant to do it.
I can recover better than James McAvoy.
Honka. Okay, cool.
Okay, well, that's what we think about that sequel, but now we gotta talk about a reboot. This is Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
This son of a bitch doesn't have a dick! He's got a fucking dick! He just got it tucked in! Identify yourselves, motherfuckers! I'm Jay, and this my head of life mate, Silent Bob!
Man,
I love it. I love the exhale.
I think there's a point in everyone's life where, like, you look at something you really loved as a teenager and you blink and you realize, oh God, this just isn't my bag anymore. And here I am staring at a bag that is just absolutely not mine.
Yeah.
Like, I'll leave this in an airport.
So let's talk about it before I either disagree or agree with you.
Okay.
Have you ever seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
More than once.
Okay. I loved that movie as a kid.
Same.
As a teenager.
Same.
High schooler. I watched it a lot. It wasn't my favorite Kevin Smith movie. I think that went to Dogma for me.
Yeah.
But Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was hilarious because it mixed movies into the plot, and it was very meta. At the time, I thought what I perceived as meta.
You're exactly
for filmmaking satires.
Yeah,
I don't think I'll ever dislike my memories of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
The memories of yes, 100%.
But I have rewatched Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and I also was just kind of like, man, there's a lot of stuff in here that just don't hold up for me. So watching this trailer, there was a lot of things on paper and in concept that I went, that makes sense for a sequel / reboot of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about these elements. However, and I am. I'm not saying that went away. Mm-hmm. I am still excited on paper about the things that this movie is about. However, almost every single moment that was supposed to be a joke in this trailer, I just Yeah.
It was a whiff.
Big swing and a miss for me.
Yeah.
And I just went, would 14-year-old me have been dying in stitches on the floor? I don't know.
I think I would have at 14 because I still found the word fuck in of itself funny. If you need to add the word fuck to make that line funny, it's probably just not a funny line in and of itself.
Sure, and I think that's fair. And having rewatched a lot of like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back or Dogma and stuff like that, that stuff is, I'm aware of it now, that they do like just kind of slot fuck into every single line. It doesn't bother me maybe because I am aware of it.
But at least Dogma has stuff going on with Christianity.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
I mean, yes. It was more than just the fucks throwing me off, though. I just legitimately didn't find the jokes funny.
oh, same, man. Yeah.
Because they were quote unquote jokes in this trailer. It wasn't just like fuck, ha ha ha, you know.
Right.
It was like he tucked in his dick.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the joke. Okay. And,
Which was already a joke in Clerks 2, anyway.
Yeah, I guess it's parallelism.
I
It's like,
guess.
it's like they rhyme like poetry. Anyway, I couldn't even tell you a bit from the trailer, like a joke bit that I liked.
Not really,
I
man.
couldn't. And
I felt like a lot of Silent Bob's reactions were just pointing. It felt like there were a lot of punchlines that were accented by Silent Bob pointing at like Jason Mewes as he says a line.
Or like, get a load of this
Yeah,
type of point. I get you. But, okay, so having said all that, in the fact that I got almost zero enjoyment out of this trailer at all, I will say, I think it is a natural sequel to go in the direction of, hey, they're making a Blunt Man Chronic sequel.
Again, on paper, not a bad idea.
Yeah, and the freaking celebrity cameos that they got in this thing, I'm just like, jeez, man. Chris Hemsworth is cameoing in this. Like, Rosario Dawson's showing up again.
Method Man and Redman.
That was insane. Yeah, and it's like, there has to be some value here, right? If all these people were like, yes, let me be a part of that.
Dude, if even 2 of those cameos, like if something in there made me laugh, I'd be like, okay, like I'll give this a try.
But they didn't.
But it didn't.
The only thing that almost made me laugh was Jason Biggs and James Vanderbeek at a panel talking about them making another Blunt Man and Chronic without them. Right. So I think there will be fun, things that poke fun at the superhero genre in this movie, which myself, a massive fan of the superhero genre, I might get stuff out of this movie that I enjoy. But this trailer is not boding well for that assessment.
Yeah.
So even though I want this to have better trailers, I want to see more. Wow. If this is it, this is a never need to see it for me.
Totally, yeah.
And I'm part of me is just like, well, maybe, like you said, maybe I've just moved on from this kind of thing.
I felt like the pathos at the end was not that earned either, where it's like, being a dad, you come everywhere, but then it's you get to choose, you choose how to be a dad, and it's trying to make this message, but since we haven't really seen Jason Mewes' character try and buck the responsibility of parenthood, it's basically he gets a knife pulled on him and it's I'm coming with you, and that's pretty much it for that. And then we get a bunch of celebrity cameos, and then it's oh, but here's the heart to that fatherhood storyline. And I'm like, oh, right, that was part of this. And it was just so all over the place.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I'm pulling for it.
It would
because
be cool if it worked.
I don't want these movies to fail.
No.
Like I do Transformers.
Sure.
I don't want them to make any more of those movies. This, I feel like I want it to be good. I want to see it. We're not there yet. Let's move on.
Double never need to seize. All right. Well, let's see if this next one takes our breath away. This is Top Gun Maverick.
The end is inevitable, Maverick. Your kind is headed for extinction.
Maybe so, sir. But not today.
Ladies and gentlemen, this trailer is on the highway to the danger zone. This is Top Gun Maverick. This is the sequel to the 1980s film.
The classic.
It
is a classic.
Yes. There's a point in this trailer where Ed Harris is talking to Tom Cruise and is like, dude, you've been doing this for 4 decades, and at this point now you should be a 2-star general, but instead you're a captain, and why is that? It's because he has the need for goddamn speed, and then you see all the speed and you just have a good time. And that's really, at heart, that's what Top Gun is. Top Gun is just a good time. It's a movie where this is America's best and brightest, and they're all playing volleyball on a beach. We all know it's goofy.
Was there volleyball in this trailer?
There was. It's like a half second.
I didn't even clock that.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, cool.
And I will say that is maybe like my only note for the trailer. So like definitely what this movie is doing is it's taking like the cool and rad action of the 80s film, taking out the cheesy synth bass line and kind of updating it with like modern action filmmaking.
Sure.
Like this
yes.
looks
Yep.
very much like a newer Mission Impossible movie.
Excellent comparison, because we all know Tom Cruise refuses to sign on to anything now unless he gets to almost kill himself. So I have a feeling that the footage of him in the cockpit of all these moments are like legit.
The stunts in this seem very death-defying.
Yeah.
All of those shots of him in the cockpit where the camera is so close to him as the ship is literally rotating 180 degrees is insane.
It's absolutely mind-blowing and
yes.
exciting. And it takes my breath away. Like, we joke about it, but they went there without even putting the song in with this one.
I did really enjoy those aspects of it. My only thing was like, oh man, I could have done with a little bit of the goof. Because that 80s version, very goofy. And I felt like it knew that and it embraced that, but that's just a really small critique I had. How about you?
I got some nitpicks too. We don't know what this movie's about. I liked everything in this trailer except the 2 lines that Tom Cruise has. Which is very weird because he's good. I've seen him be good. Mission Impossible, he continues to blow me away. With not only his death-defying stuff, but also him making me believe that he is this character. Whereas him standing there just staring at Ed Harris for 2 shots, 2 different at the beginning and at the end, and he just like, Ed Harris says something, and Tom Cruise just like waits a little bit and then responds. And then at the end, it's like...
With a very flat, cool...
Yeah, and then it's like at the end, it's like, you're gonna be obsolete soon, Maverick. And he's like, maybe. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Okay.
But not today. And I'm just like,
take my breath
I was just like, yeah, it was a little much for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't get Maverick from that. I got just Tom Cruise saying a line.
Sure.
Because I didn't see any of the cocky attitude that Maverick had in either of those lines.
Yeah, oh, that's a really good
And
point.
maybe he's grown as a character. It has been a really long time, but I don't know, if you're going for nostalgia in the trailer, it just was weird that I don't know. It was very wooden of a delivery of those 2 lines.
Oh, this trailer wholeheartedly it's not really trying to get into where Maverick has gone as a character.
No,
that is an excellent observation. You're right. He is definitely not as cocky as he is in that original film.
Like, smile at Ed Harris or something.
Yeah.
But it was just like stoicness, and then not today. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, this trailer is more so just trying to be like, fucking planes, baby!
Yeah.
And
which I love those parts. Those parts crushed it.
Yeah.
But for me, and normally I can let stuff like this slide, but they really like clothespinned this trailer with those moments. For me, like they felt very much like, oh, we're gonna hang the trailer on these 2 moments.
Sure.
And both those moments fell flat for me. Therefore, it was just kind of a disappointing way to go out. So for me, this is a need to see more.
Okay.
Just because of how important the rhythm of the trailer made those moments. If they were tucked away, it wouldn't have bothered me as much. But they built to those moments, and then it was just a letdown for me.
And then it face plants, yeah. Or like Goose.
It goose
water
ejects.
plants.
It goose
It
ejects.
goose ejects.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair, man.
Oh, that's upsetting.
I am at a need to see for this, just because...
There's incredible stuff in it. So,
yeah, totally, man. Okay,
Legit.
well, let's go to something else that took our breath away in an entirely different way.
Sure.
Everybody, buckle up. This is fucking Cats. James, I have a confession to make.
Okay, tell me.
When I saw that the trailer for this dropped, I was actually really eager to watch the trailer.
Why?
Because
of what you've heard?
No, because for 29 years I have heard of Cats. I've heard it being derided and like people making fun of Cats, but I never knew what Cats was about.
You knew the song, right? Memory?
Not
Memory, all alone in the moonlight, blah, 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 blee, blee.
Listen, unless Jay-Z has done a remix of it, I don't know it.
No? Okay.
Yeah, so it's like, I was excited to watch it because I was like, I don't know what Cats is about. And I would like to know what Cats is about.
Well, it's about cats, Kevin.
I've seen the trailer 3 times, and that's all I got out of this. I don't have a goddamn clue what happens in Cats.
Sure.
I had to ask a friend what Cats was about, and he explained it to me. And that does not come through in the fucking trailer, man.
Oh, well, this is interesting. So, I also have not seen Cats.
Okay.
I also know nothing about Cats other than the song Memory is in it.
Okay.
I can agree with you firsthand.
Sure.
I don't know what this movie is about, other than the fact that it is a musical, it is famous, it is about cats, and they're doing it differently than the stage performance. It's definitely just supposed to hit on the notes for people that are familiar with it, I think.
Yeah.
I think. Maybe. Who knows, really.
This looks like a PS3 cutscene. Not a PS4 cutscene.
Oh.
It's a PS3 cutscene.
Interesting. Yeah, okay.
Because, yeah, man, like, it's completely CG.
It's CG, yeah. It's like the sets, I think, are real.
Maybe.
To an extent.
Yeah.
They were doing mocap, and then you realize it's really just to put fur on them, and that's it, though. And then have to, like, redo the face then after, or, like, let the face soak through the CGI. It was so unbelievably off-putting. I don't think the movements looked bad, but there's just something I can't put my finger on that is off-putting about it.
It's been a rough year for CGI characters. You have your Aladdins, you have your Sonics, you have your Cats.
Yeah.
The Cats design was so derided, I think the Sonic the Hedgehog director might feel obligated to fix Cats, too. That's how...
Look, I've seen a thing or two, Cats. Let me add... was it Tom Hooper?
Yeah.
Let me add it. Let me add it.
Just add it to our pile. Yeah. We're swamped anyway.
It's not a confusing trailer, but it is a misleading trailer in the fact where I watched it and I was talking with Jenny about it and I was like, oh yeah, like I don't know anything about cats, but clearly this white cat is the main character. Yeah. And Jenny's like, oh no, it's Jennifer Hudson is the main character, the one singing Moonlight. And I'm like, well then they totally dropped the ball on the trailer because the trailer is like structured and designed to make you look at the white cat. I don't know the actress's name. She feels like the main character of this movie. For me, it's a never need to see it because it just looks so off-putting.
Sure.
And I know nothing about it. And this trailer didn't tell me anything about it.
Yeah, it's definitely keeping anyone who doesn't know the show at arm's length.
But there are a few aspects that make me want to bump this up, and it's Tom Hooper. I think he's very talented, and he tries new things, which I appreciate. I think the music of this trailer was good also. The dance choreography also looked fun and good.
Yeah.
Elements here that make me want to see it. Again, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Right.
All over again.
Right.
Are you happy, cats? Are you happy you put yourself in the same camp as Jay and Silent Bob Reboot? Because I'm not, but here we are.
Listen, man, like... It is so bizarre and in a lot of ways so off-putting. And I think for me, it's not quite The Room, but there is a part of me that wants to see it just to be like, I need to be able to understand what's happening.
I get that.
So it's like, it's one of those things where for me, this is a never need to see.
On paper.
Yeah, but like, I know full well there is going to be a night where it's like me and like a handful of people who have drank far too much.
Possibly me.
Possibly you, yes. We're all going to be like kind of drunk and we're going to see Cats is on HBO now. And we're like, I'm going to be like, we have to fucking watch Cats.
Because of the trailer.
Mostly.
That's interesting.
Isn't that kind of fucked up?
Oh, what a wonderful podcast we've decided to do, Kevin.
All right. I think we've beaten this to near death, so let's go.
We got a lot more to talk about, especially this next one.
Absolutely,
so,
yeah. So this next one is The Walking Dead. Yes, indeed, folks. So after Cats, there is a second trailer that was mostly made in After Effects, and that is the Walking Dead teaser.
The Walking Dead, the movie teaser.
Yes.
This is a theatrical release movie.
This is the equivalent of the Irishman teaser, the Martin Scorsese movie where it's just the bullet casing falling.
Sure.
So it's like, inherently this is, I guess, a need to see more just because nothing's happening here other than a helicopter going toward a city and a title card.
Sure.
And that's about it. So yeah.
Disagree. It's a never need to see it for me.
Okay.
This is why. Just no. Come on. First of all, didn't even know you were making a Walking Dead movie.
Sure.
Second of all, don't show me anything if this is all you got. The Irishman, I'll give it a slide because it's freaking Martin Scorsese, and that cast is stacked.
Yeah.
That was like far off, I think, from production. I'll give that one a slide. But this was dumb. There wasn't any like voiceover from the movie. It just was like ominous tones. The title Walking Dead, a city, and saying Rick Grimes is back. I'm like, cool. You know, I watched a lot of Walking Dead. I stopped at like season 4, I think. I've never seen Downton Abbey, ever. But after the 2 teasers that we got, one for Downton Abbey and one for Walking Dead, the movie, I will run, not walk, to Downton Abbey over this one. So stupid. So disappointing. Especially, this is Comic-Con. Either bring it or just, like, don't talk about it.
I feel like
I was so upset about this one.
You were like the dude at the end of Network. I now agree with you. You've changed my view.
I'm mad as hell, Kevin.
Your grandstanding had an effect on me. Those are all excellent points. There is a distinguishing factor between The Irishman and The Walking Dead, so... Yeah, okay, never. Yeah, you got 2
never it
nevers.
is. Let's move on.
Yeah,
we
man.
don't need to talk about that anymore.
Yeah, with Cats, with The Walking Dead, things have gotten a bit dour, so let's move on to A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, shall we?
Let's do it.
We are trying to give the world positive ways of dealing with their feelings.
Yeah? Like what?
There are many things you can do. You can play all the lowest keys on a piano at the same time.
Hello, neighbor. This is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, in which a writer goes to do a profile on Mr. Rogers and is told by his beloved, don't fuck this up. And
don't fuck this up for me, don't fuck this up for America.
And he goes, and Mr. Rogers is a very wholesome guy. All right, so, James, what do you think?
Look, this trailer doesn't present anything to me that I didn't already know. I love Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers is wholesome and nice. That's it. So it doesn't.
It really is.
As a trailer, as far as trailers that don't give me anything other than what I already know, this one just hit me real hard, though.
I think there is still some artistry to how this is made.
There really is.
You know, just play the low notes on the piano, bong, and then like that is used as a recurring.
I got goosebumps
theme?
Just you doing it just now. Like I haven't teared up at a movie trailer in a really long time. I did this one. The first time I watched it all the way through with having pretty minimal reaction to it, mostly critiquing Tom Hanks's performance, which is gonna happen when you're doing essentially an impersonation of a massively beloved human being. I was kind of critiquing him a little bit that first watch. And, like, the accent's kind of weird. Like, he's kind of overdoing it.
I will say that there's really not that much where I lose myself in that performance, where it's like I'm always conscious that it's Tom Hanks.
Absolutely. But the first time I was watching it, when it got to the end in the subway train and the people singing to Mr. Rogers, his own theme song, and then his response to it, I couldn't hold it together any longer, and it just, the whole point of his body of work and what he was about the fact that he got to see it have an impact on a daily basis, and then us in the trailer be reminded that not only was he striving to create a world that people were just generous in and kind to each other and to themselves, to see him get to experience or see it firsthand that it's having an impact was something that I didn't realize that I, would connect with so much. And then I watched it a second time, and then I cried throughout the whole thing. It was just, I was able to get over the performance of Tom. I'm tearing up right now. Growing up, I watched a lot of Mr. Rogers. It was really important to me. Obviously, there's other ways to ingrain that kind of generosity and kindness in your personality, but this was such a good through line for children that I feel bad if someone didn't have that experience. In living in the world that we live in now and the climate that we live in now, hearing constantly people talk about derogatory term of like snowflake and all these things of like, everyone thinks they're so special and entitled to all this crap. I don't know where they got that. I like the good old days when you had to, tough it out bootstraps and all that bull crap and bury your feelings deep down like I used to had to. And I just, you think about all that kind of stuff, and then you see a trailer like this and you go, well, it was my own parents that sat me in front of the TV and told me this was a good thing to watch, Mr. Rogers. They were the ones who told me that I'm special and that everyone is special in their own right. And they deserve to be listened to. They deserve to be heard. And just because you're children or just because you're from this walk of life or that walk of life, that doesn't take away from how you feel. And feelings are important, and you can throw it away as being a snowflake as much as you want or being a wimp as much as you want, but at the end of the day, that's how we're gonna grow. I just want people to be kind, and I just don't see that in our country anymore. I've gone a little off topic, and I know we're trying to speed things along, but it was important to me. I liked this trailer.
I've buried my feelings deep, so I think this is just okay. Never needed to... No, of course not. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And,
sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with where you're coming from. I don't think that it's entitlement. I think Mr. Rogers just wanted to instill that you are special, and I think that in order to be kind, you have to have self-respect, too.
Self-worth.
And self-worth.
Yeah,
and
self-respect, yeah.
Mr. Rogers was all about teaching that, and the way to find that sense of self-worth and self-acceptance is to accept your own feelings.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That was a huge part of his message and a huge part of what he wanted to instill and tell kids that it was okay to be sad or scared.
Yeah.
And to understand that was a part of growing up.
And angry.
And angry, too.
Anger was a big part of it, too, and how to healthily handle that anger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of Mr. Rogers, the person,
let's focus on the trailer, I guess.
But with the trailer...
Let's blow our noses, wipe our tears a little bit, and talk about objectively the trailer.
Yes.
Sure.
And that being the case, so the writer character who comes in to do a profile,
yes.
At one point mentions that he is broken in some way to Mr. Rogers. Without seeing
why
that
or
character's
how.
struggle doesn't hold quite as much credence. It does have a general credence and speaks to his message, but for that specific character, it doesn't quite hit me.
No, you're totally right. If he is our in character,
our cipher,
in the trailer, that doesn't really hold weight because we haven't seen how you're a broken person, relatively successful person, who has a relationship and has a job, and I don't know how you're broken. I didn't get a sense from that at all. I think that's a really good point. And maybe that, honestly, that would have added a whole other layer to this trailer because it's clearly a personal story.
Especially if this is a person who maybe grew up with Mr. Rogers and then lost touch of all of those values that came from Mr. Rogers, then having to go and interview him.
Yeah.
In some ways, it's an interrogation of but what about all the bad stuff in the world? And through discussing with Mr. Rogers, kind of starting to understand that philosophy and how that philosophy can and frankly should be applied to the bad stimuli in the world. Too.
Yep.
So as of right now, it is a very high need to see more, but it is still a need to see more.
I went into this thinking this was going to be your traditional biopic, and I was just relieved to know that they were taking a different approach to this. Fred Rogers isn't the main character; it's this journalist or author who's the main character. I think that's a good way to go. You're definitely focusing on his later years. Clearly, Fred Rogers' later years. But I mean, all your criticisms are completely valid. Like I said, that first time I watched the trailer, I only was watching Tom Hanks's his impersonation and how it held up. That's all I was focusing on. But without getting too emotional again, I just want everyone to see it and have an emotional connection to it and just want to be a better person. And
I'm probably going to see this movie.
Oh, sure. No. Yeah, totally.
Just looking at like the trailer itself,
exactly.
It's like, I felt like this. In order for this moment to hit more, I would have needed a little bit more out of...
And honestly, a thing that elevated it for me was that piano moment that you talked about.
That was really good,
And they did it again. I think they did it a second time later on. And the score really swells when he does that. Like, perfectly timed. That's all I got. I promise, looking ahead, I promise I won't cry anymore in this episode, Kevin.
I'm glad that we took a second to breathe, to cry, and to let ourselves feel, especially for Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
But there's still a lot to get through, and we gotta run, rabbit, run.
Do it, baby!
Jojo Rabbit, let's go.
Are you ready for the best weekend ever? Yes, I am!
All right, so hopping over to Jojo Rabbit, this is Taika Waititi's new movie. This is set in Germany, in which a
boy, is it?
Yes, during World War II era, and we're focusing. It's a coming of age story about this kid who is growing up and
in the Hitler Youth Program.
Who has an imaginary friend who happens to be Adolf Hitler, who is played by a Maori New Zealander. And that's what we got going on here. This is a teaser, so we're mostly just getting like flashes of humor.
Yes.
It's mostly trying to sell the style and the aesthetic of it. I will say that this style and aesthetic is working for me. Like, it definitely harkens to Wes Anderson in some ways, especially when all the kids are jumping in the pool. It's very symmetrical. And yes, it is a coming-of-age film, and if you couldn't tell, I did just mention that there's a pool. I feel like that's just a hallmark in coming-of-age films now. But what this does have is a unique twist on the coming-of-age story, being its setting and its character and who this character is.
It's perspective.
It's perspective,
yes.
Yeah. And it's such an interesting choice. And, like, the movie makes it very clear and very on the nose with its title cards that this is not an argument for... Let's hear these Nazis out.
Without saying the words, they did a very good job of saying, this is not pro-Nazi.
Yes.
This is anti-Nazi.
It's very anti-Nazi.
You might think it's pro-Nazi if you are dense. But it's not. For those of you who might have assumed that, no.
Mm-hmm. This is bookended with two incredibly strong jokes. Like, you have... the knife gag.
The knife gag is very good.
Yeah, they're practicing throwing against the tree and it pegs one of the kids in the fucking leg. Kind of showing, like, the dangerous and terrible ideology that is being imposed on them in the Hitler Youth is so counterintuitive because they're fucking children and they have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that last bit where imaginary friend Adolf Hitler shows up and is like... well, everyone used to say that I would only do terrible things, and look at me, is a very knowing and clever joke. And I think that so far what I'm seeing here is really effective satire, and I'm incredibly interested.
I'm going to hit pause and rewind real quick. I did not catch the aspect that this was an imaginary Hitler. Mm-hmm. I didn't... It wasn't said in dialogue, right? You just kind of assumed, or you collectively assumed that?
It's inferred because it's like, you see all the kids make fun of him. He runs out into the woods. He's by himself in the woods. Is the real Adolf Hitler really just hanging out in the woods?
Maybe, though. I don't know. I didn't know how ridiculous this was going, and it struck me as like, oh, Adolf Hitler as a form of like Nazi Fred Rogers just comes out behind the tree and he's like, "What's got you down, Jojo Rabbit? Let's rap for a second. Let me tell you, it's okay to feel that way. No worries." Like, I didn't know what level of satire this was gonna be.
Yeah.
So that didn't strike me as
an imaginary friend.
As an imaginary friend right away. I was just like, well, that's weird that Hitler's just standing behind that tree.
But
now that you say that, though, I'm just like, that makes way more sense.
Sure. I think that does harken to a very real part about youth, where it's like, you have imaginary friends growing up, and like, in some ways they are people who you admire. And now we're just doing this joke where it's like, you have to understand, back in the 40s, there was a kid whose imaginary friend was probably Hitler, and we have to reconcile with that. And like, there is something inherently funny and kind of provocative about that, but it does seem like, especially with the main character kind of trying to struggle and figure out what it means to be a person, and he's like derided for having feelings, to kind of have that arc be our center and our compass. Like, even though it is provocative, it's like, oh, this just adds like a really crazy layer to that story.
I agree. Yeah.
I'm really interested.
And we got good character set up with the character of Jojo, and like, you know, he got teased for being, you know, they tease him about being like a rabbit and that kind of, so that's all important setup stuff, and so that was nice to see in the trailer. But for me, the trailer was just those two opening and closing jokes, and I didn't really get much out of it other than those, and I got excited about those, but because it is a teaser, I'm okay with saying, like, this is a need to see more for me, where it's at right now.
Even though teasers by nature are typically need to see more, it's like, anytime we do our trailer teaser segment, we will sometimes say, like, yeah, I fucking love this teaser. And I will say, I really fucking love this teaser.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's great.
I think this completely gets its style across and its tone, and there are a couple of really strong gags in there. It gives me enough about the character that I am interested in Jojo Rabbit. So, yeah, I would say this would be a need to see.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, I would need to see more. I wouldn't quite call myself a fanatic for it yet. And speaking of, the next trailer we're talking about is The Fanatic.
Help! I just wanted an autograph! Wait!
Out of your mind?
Oh, did I mention that The Fanatic is directed by Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit?
No, you didn't. No, you didn't, sir.
That is an important thing to keep in mind. This is The Fanatic. It is indeed directed by Fred Durst. And it's just about a crazy stalker guy who like travels to LA to go and meet his favorite movie star. His favorite movie star wants something to do with him, and so kind of like Kathy Bates in Misery, he captures
It's very Misery.
Yes. Yeah, but at least with Misery, there was like a reason beyond like, you know, he's just crazy.
No, she's just crazy.
But at the same time, there's at least like, it comes from a definitive love of the series, right? It's like, oh, how are you going to end this book series? I'm going to kill the main character.
Sure.
I don't want that. I will do whatever it takes.
Sure, it's important. The series is important to her, not just the celebrity.
Correct.
I understand what you're saying. Okay, got it.
I will say that's the big thing I'm missing right now is John Travolta's character. He is definitely playing...
John Travolta's in this, by the way, you guys.
Yeah, John Travolta is absolutely playing a creep who likes to wear Hawaiian shirts. And
that a haircut no one ever would have given him consciously without him putting a knife to their throat, probably. Saying, cut my hair this way, please.
Yes. And so as of right now, this does just feel kind of like empty to me. Especially because like his motivation in the beginning is like, I want to see this person. Yeah. And the person's like, go away. And then he's like, well, I guess I'm going to just capture you.
Yeah. Well, it looked more like it's a home invasion.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
It's the movie star's home. Mm-hmm. And John Travolta is just like, no, I live here now too. With you. Yeah. We're roomies, buddy.
And I will say, like, there is like some creepy imagery where he does just like sit in the chair and is like, oh,
that was a good moment. Yeah. His celebrity crush or fan, whatever, he's asleep and he's just sitting in the chair next to him and he's got no idea he's there. Yeah, oddly enough, the best parts of this trailer was John Travolta's performance. Is that weird saying that?
Sometimes he does well. It didn't with Gotti, but sometimes.
But this was like, I was interested in watching him every time he was on the screen.
Sure.
what unraveled in the scene didn't always interest me, but I was always pretty fascinated with the character he was doing.
Yeah.
Which I did not expect.
He does.
I'm like a Fred Durst movie with John Travolta. I guess I have to watch this. But I ended up not absolutely hating it, but like you said, it's lacking a lot. Therefore, it's a never need to see for me.
Yes.
I don't need to go see this movie.
That's fair. And I think for me, I will not give it all for the Nookie or the Fanatic, and I will say that this is a never need to see for me.
All right, good. Consensus.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, there might be an interesting thing to get across with toxic fan bases, I think are a pretty big thing in our culture right now. And I think that there could be something to be said. But just to have a character be crazy for the sake of it might be a bridge too far for me. But speaking of bridges, we got 21 bridges coming up.
21 bridges too far.
Close the island.
What island?
Manhattan.
Let me tell you what's going on here.
Tell it to me. Give me it.
It's a cop drama, right? Where there's a cop and a couple other cops have been killed, and he's trying to investigate it. It appears as if two guys were the sole perpetrators of this crime. And in order to catch them, this cop says, close the island down of Manhattan.
Yeah, which island? Manhattan.
Shuts down all 21 bridges, and that is that.
Yeah.
And that's it. That is this movie. James, what did you think?
I liked this trailer. I like Chadwick Boseman a lot. I do really like cop dramas. I am very much usually drawn to them. By the time they're finished, I definitely am not blind to the good ones and the bad ones. But usually they market themselves good enough. It definitely implies that there's more to this than just two bad guys shooting down cops. It's like, I like cop dramas that introduce a side of there's probably corruptness on the police's side of things, and that needs to be dealt with as well. And I think this trailer at least hints at that, if it doesn't come outright to say it.
All I could think when they close Manhattan down is them getting the bad guys in the end, and then a civilian approaches Chadwick Boseman on the street and is like, while the island is shut down, can we find out who killed my son? You've been investigating for a week. And he was like, open the bridges! And then that's just the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I thought the close Manhattan down thing, I was like, oh, this is pretty tongue-in-cheek and fun. All right.
I did love that moment.
It felt like that was the only moment that was really tongue-in-cheek, and therefore, are you
Intend
positing
that?
this as a serious thing? I'm at a very low need to see more with this, just because I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on with this tone yet. If this knows it's just going to be a goofy, fun action flick, sure, sign me up.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going in that direction too. I think it takes itself too seriously at the end of the day, and I did get a hint of, oh, this could have fun with it, and I want more of that. So this is a need to see more for me as well. But I liked what I saw.
All right, well, cops were killed by a single tap, and now we're going to move on to a double tap. This is Zombieland Double Tap.
My sister is gone. She picked up a boy. He's from Berkeley.
Berkeley.
You don't have weed, do you?
Do I look like the type of person that would have weed?
I'm sorry.
Boom. Yeah. I have nothing against hippies. I just want to beat the shit out of them.
We're gonna go get her. We ride it, Dawn.
So last episode, you and I talked about good uses of intellectual bullying, of throwing title cards up. And actually, this, I think, is a really good example of a good title card joke, where it's every single cast member credited as either Academy Award nominee or winner, and then, guess what, it's Zombieland. I thought that was really clever. And yeah, it is. It's basically just the second part of Zombieland.
Yeah.
In this one, Jesse Eisenberg meets a woman, and then she's kind of forgotten about halfway through. And then Abigail Breslin's character meets a dude, and she runs off with said dude, and the other three are like, we gotta find her.
Yeah.
And that's the trailer. So
That's the inciting incident of what I perceive this movie to be. Look, the inciting incident of the first movie was just getting to the amusement park. If that's it, that's all I need. No one watched the first movie for, the destination. It was the journey of the characters you're with and the goofy fun they had with it and being a zombie movie. I am a massive fan of the first Zombieland movie. It was one of my favorite movies of 2009. Once they announced this, I was like, yes, let's do it. If they're all on board. Okay, yes, let's do this, I don't even care what the plot is. It doesn't matter to me. It's just their chemistry that I like, and it's the style of killing zombies that's fun. I am excited about the prospects. What did you think?
The humor is very scattershot because this is the Deadpool writers. And I think there is another person attached to this too, but like Deadpool humor for me is very hit or miss. And I will say...
It's mostly hit for me, but I see where you're coming from.
I think with Deadpool 2, it was mostly miss for me.
Really? Yeah. Oh, I love Deadpool 2 just as much as the first one.
Yeah.
Good.
So, for me, I'm
not good. Shut the fuck up. Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
For me, I'm mostly looking at the story. And no, you shut the fuck up because the story here is really lacking, buddy.
Which I did say.
Yes,
I did say.
Yes,
I'm not blind to that. I just don't care.
And I think for me, like, just from like a structural standpoint, I think we could have gotten Abigail Breslin running off way earlier because that seems to be the inciting incident.
100%. Totally agree with you. That's a structure thing. That's easy to fix in a trailer. Well, I still would have started with the Oscar winner, Oscar nominated,
that's
Oscar
very
winner.
Good. Yes, it's like
still would have started with that.
Like, give me that little thing to intro this thing.
Yeah.
But then from then on, like I want to go there, especially because again, we do completely forget the woman who Jesse Eisenberg finds in the grocery store after like 20 seconds of this trailer.
Yeah.
And especially if she's not going to be important to the rest of the trailer, then I really don't need her included in this. And especially because Abigail Breslin leaving is the thing that gets him going, and that's what gets him to find whatever that community is that Rosario Dawson is leading.
Sure. Yep.
I'd just like to get there quicker, because that appears to be where the brunt of the material.
And maybe the next trailer will focus more on that community. In like go the Walking Dead route of like, oh no, they stumbled across this community that's seemingly welcoming, but then maybe not so welcoming. That kind of trope. If you could lean into that and then turn it on its head some way, that's the sign of a good satire of a zombie movie. I think this has a few more steps to go.
Yes.
So this is a high need to see more for me.
Okay. And it's a need to see more for me as well.
Okay. Great. Well done, Kevin.
All right, cool.
Can I breathe? Can I breathe finally?
Well, no, because we do have one more transition. Like, we may have gotten our opinions about Zombieland 2 out.
Okay.
But we still have to do an outro. Yeah, just kidding. We don't have another trailer. You can totally breathe, man. All right, so
feels good.
This is the end of the episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening.
We did it.
If you like this episode, you are able to find us on Facebook. If you just search Trailer Hitch Podcast there, you can hit us up if you want to request a trailer, expand on any more thoughts, or just leave feedback. You are welcome to do it there. If you would like to keep those thoughts into more concise, say, 240 missives, you can do that on Twitter. We're there at Trailer Hitch Pod.
That's right.
Or if you'd like to take a picture and send it to us, you can do that on our Instagram at Trailer Hitch Podcast.
Absolutely.
Or if you'd like a long missive, you can do that through email at trailerhitchmailbox@gmail.com.
We've thought of it all for you guys. Whatever kind of thing you want to send us in whatever format. We thought of it.
And that does include LinkedIn, and we decided no. So, just a heads up, you can also find us on
LinkedIn.
YouTube. Our entire back catalog is there. So if you want to just go onto YouTube, search Trailer Hitch Podcast, give us a like, give us a subscribe, whatever you'd like to do.
Yep.
Do it there. You can also leave comments there. We have read comments from YouTube on this program as well, if that's how you'd like to contact us. But if you want to just listen to us, get straight to the goddamn source, you can do that through iTunes. If you just search Trailer Hitch on there, you should be able to find our podcast, find our entire catalog, give us a like, give us a subscribe, rate us, review us, all that good stuff. Or if you're an Android user, don't worry, remember, Stitcher. You can find us on Stitcher as well, baby. Before we go, we would like to thank Danny Schmitz from Lost in a Name for the great intro song that you hear at the top of every episode.
Hear, hear.
We would like to thank Rachel Ashley for the amazing cover art that you see on iTunes and all of her various social medias. You can find her work at Mighty Creation on Instagram. We would also like to thank Jenny Hawks, our bad media and social media correspondent, for all of her sterling work. And we would also like to thank Casey Clowers for the amazing outro, which you will hear momentarily, unless James has something to add.
Instantly you will hear it, because I have nothing to add, Kevin.
Oh, that, fuck it. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
You can't mount holy sails without a sailor stitch, and you can't haul your stuff without a trailer hitch. Trailer hitch.
So what were the other episode titles? By any chance?
So they're valiant efforts.
Okay.
They're not all winners, which is why I didn't say them.
That's okay. Yeah.
Okay, so here we got the cons of continuous Comic-Con trailers plus the hitchhiking trailers. I didn't like that one at all.
Yeah, I liked where we were going with the alliteration.
I was trying to get as many
rhyming
cons in there as possible.
Yeah.
I think I fell short.
But ironically enough, too many cons led to it being a con in of itself.
Wow. See, I wish you were here when I was writing these. All right, the second one, the Comic Conquerors die at the end.
Okay.
Meaning us.
I see where
we
it's
die
going.
because of how many trailers there are. Let's see, we got the Comic Conquerors Return, or how we learn to stop worrying and just hit record.
I like a good Doctor Strangelove reference.
Okay, I like that one. And then finally, a funny thing happened on the way to the Trailer Hitch Comic-Con episode, we died from so many trailers, not a part of the Comic-Con crushing us.
I keep noticing death
Yeah,
as a recurring theme, and I just want to say, is everything okay?
Look, I'll let you know after the episode.